All right, so tell me your name.
My name is Patrick Gordon. I go by Watts, it's my artist name, and it's an acronym which stands for We Are the Safety.
Awesome. And where are you arriving from today?
I just came from Somerville. I was in Somerville Open Studios exhibiting with a few other artists today. Yeah.
Awesome. And then what would you say, or where would you say home is for you?
Home is with me at all times. And I, a few years ago, I was chatting with someone and we started to say the phrase making self the safe space. And that led me into this idea of home being wherever you decide to make it, and more of something you carry with you, almost like a way of being. And I also think that relates to not knowing where my people originate from and being disconnected from that. And I think there's also something in my family blood to flip those things on its head. My grandmother, whose bag I showed, her family and my mom's last name before she got married was Europe. And the reason why is because when that branch of the family got essentially freed from slavery, are thinking about choosing last names so that people don't know that they used to be enslaved. So they said if we choose Europe, it's essentially a big FU, but also no one's gonna be able to really tell like what our history is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think home is something that I carry with me.
Awesome. And who would you say the storytellers, oral historians, or visual art carvists are in your family?
Well, my parents come to mind because there's lots of really good photo documentation of our childhoods. A few years ago, my mom gave each of us a shoebox full of different photos, and I don't even think that was all of them, but I definitely have a lot of early memories of us looking back through the photo albums of us, growing up as babies and things like that. And then I didn't meet her, but on my dad's side, one of my grandfather's sisters, she had a lot of the oral history, and essentially what we have written down currently from my dad's side was what he got from her before she passed away. He didn't get as much as he wanted to, but yeah, she's someone else that comes to mind as well, that I know of, yeah.
And then one last question. What is one takeaway from your In Ernest experience?
I had a really great conversation with two people right after the short talk ended that Steph gave. And because I haven't been here yet, a part of me was just wanting to walk around the exhibit and leave the conversation I was in, even though it was a great conversation. And for the first time, this other voice in my head said, just think about the ancestors watching this conversation and being a part of it in that way through the photos, as opposed to you always thinking you have to go look directly at them. Like, this could be the moment that they brought you here for. So yeah, that's probably the biggest takeaway that comes to mind. I hadn't thought about that before, and I thought that was really cool because I think that also is a certain energy that Steph is channeling from her family and also bringing into the show. And yeah, that really stuck with me.
then I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
As a creative, I know you still want to walk the show, but has anything kind of stood out to you in relation to like your own creative journey, or any sparks or anything coming up for you as you walk through the space?
Yeah, definitely Black joy. And I think I'm actually very conscious of talking about other emotions in real life, politics, society, this, that, and the third that we go through as Black people. But I focus a lot of my art and like almost exclusively on Black joy because I think it tends to get overlooked. And the push is to see us going through trials and tribulations or dealing with traumatic experiences. And we do that and have done that. But there is also a whole other side of emotions, of us expressing love, expressing joy, being creative, being passionate, that I think gets missed. And so one thing I really liked about the work I have been able to see is just really feeling that Black joy and seeing that through like the fashion and the elegance. And it makes me think of really seeing a authentic Caribbean approach to these concepts that in Western society we typically only focus on white people who look a certain way and fit a certain mold.